Terry, welcome back.
Good to be back.
Yeah, good to be back.
Good to be back.
Did you get my surprise I left you?
Yes, I did. I loved it.
How's it? How's the stash going?
It's I had to put it in the back. I had to put it in the back. Yeah, it was going too fast. That's why I had to put it in the back.
I understand.
Yeah, no, I'm sugar about 214 now, I think, somewhere around there.
Okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
It's kind of like engine temps.
Exactly.
214, 215,
Exactly.
it's okay.
No, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I love those things.
On my way back from Tennessee, I stopped at the Buc-ee's in Richmond, just south of Lexington, and picked up some Buc-ee's Nuggies. And
Good.
horrible.
Primo. Yeah, horrible.
Horrible.
Don't stop and get it. If you do, bring them here. I'll dispose of them for you.
Serving size is a bag.
Yeah, one bag, and it takes about 10 minutes. Yes.
They're unbelievably tasty.
Yes. Oh man, we were just talking about it earlier. I mean, how good. How
they're
great
so
they
good.
were. God.
It's real simple.
Yeah.
It's just like corn,
Yeah.
corn puff, and magic.
Yeah, and magic. That's a good way to describe it.
All
I
right.
haven't even opened the cinnamon ones yet.
Oh man, they're good.
I haven't even opened it. I
Man, they're good.
can't even imagine.
They're
I mean,
good.
just the regular ones they're so good. They're so good.
So, what I need to talk about, and we have 15 minutes before you close, so we got to make this quick. Small block Chevy.
Right.
In my previous video, I brought this up as a possible option, and you guys sell long blocks, small
Yes.
block Chevy long blocks,
Yes.
that are designed for just kind of a drop-in basic V8 hot
Right.
rod motor.
Exactly.
Nothing special.
No. We've got special ones, but those aren't special.
Right.
No.
So what I want to do is I think that what makes the most sense, none of this really makes sense, but what makes the most sense to me is start with a basic unit
Right.
and then build our way up step at a time, one
Right.
step at a time.
I think
Test
that-
things and
I
go
think
from
that's a
there.
great idea.
So what I really need to worry about is money, because I'm not made of it. Contrary to what most people probably believe, I'm not that wealthy.
But you got Richard's card, right?
I do have Rich's credit card. I picked that up today.
Problem solved.
What was this charge
Sorry,
from
Rich.
Jegs? No idea. I'll go talk to Terry about it. Post haste. So the question really is like, where would we start? What kind of money are we looking at to get the first initial from long block to where we are? That's the homework we need to figure out. What kind of money am I going
As
to
a
be?
matter of fact,
Oh God, he already did the
that
homework.
would be $27.78.99. As a matter of fact,
Going to get you a jersey.
Right.
It's going to be take my money, Terry.
right, and I'm sure y'all got one laying around the shop somewhere. That includes your core charge, which your core charge is $400.
Yeah, I
So-
gotta find a core.
I mean, anything from 1967 to 2000, as long as it's a 350 Chevrolet that is rebuildable,
Right.
that's all they care about. That's all that matters.
Okay.
So then you'll get $400 back off of that. So we're $23.78.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I gotta put I gotta put ignition on it. I gotta put an intake on it. I've got to put a balancer on it. What
Water
else?
pump.
What else do we need?
All your front drive accessories.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
What's my total out the door going to be?
Well, you look at
Terry is fantastically well qualified to take money out of your pocket.
yes, I am.
Already called me this morning to say hi, thank me for the snacks, and then called me this evening wanting to know if I wanted to go ahead and buy that motor. I'm sure you guys all have somebody in your life that's uniquely talented at taking money out of your pocket. Terry's one of mine. Let me show you, by the way, if you haven't seen the previous video. So this is Jegs at 11th Avenue, by the way, and it is literally about quitting time. They're going to turn off the lights on me in a minute. But they sell a long block that is essentially this, just minus all of that. So it's just short block and heads. And it is designed as a drop-in crate motor kind of thing, but it's a long block. It's 8.5 to 1, something like that. 195 horsepower, can produce 100 or 260. It's just designed as a drop-in long block. So what I'm thinking is I can buy that, and then I can test a variety of different things on top of it. And all of that stuff is sold here. So like the intake area, so we can test like a basic dual plane intake manifold. Jegs has one of those. A basic ignition system, and then just kind of go from there, and then we can make adjustments. Now the camshaft that's in that is a pretty normal camshaft, nothing real exciting. But we could test things like rockers. So it would come with a 1.5 rocker. What if we put a 1.6 rocker on it? What if we put a 1.7 rocker on it to modify that cam lift? Interesting stuff, maybe interesting stuff. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut you off right there when you are jumping down in the comment section and you're going to say, well, why would you do that, Austin? Because everybody's already done it all before. Well, you know what I'm going to say to that? Nuh-uh, they haven't. And I haven't done it, so you'd get to see me do it for the first time. Now what's also a little bit weird is I don't really own anything that runs a small block Chevy. I do have something that needs a big block Chevy.
Guy.
I am a BOP guy. But the only thing I own that would run a small block Chevy would be my 67 Impala that I'm never going to get to. That's been sitting in the backyard rotting for the last 7 years. But that's got to be a big block. So use this thing as a dyno mule, test all kinds of stuff, and then probably give it to somebody and through some sort of I don't know if a giveaway or some kind of raffle or something along those lines, and use that money to be able to do something good for somebody, because I'm kind of into that kind of thing. I like doing things for people. So, maybe that's an option. But we would have a long journey with this motor. It would be something where we could use it to test a huge variety of stuff. And the nice thing is, if you guys are watching, I can keep doing this, because if the viewership is there, I can utilize the money from watching the videos to be able to buy the parts that I want to test. So,
Figure to get the motor running.
Get the motor running.
Hit that on the highway.
Yeah. Hit it onto the dyno.
We get 2 shows a night, people. Remember, tip your waitress.
Try the fish.
About $1,000.
Okay.
On top of that, that'll get you an intake manifold carburetor, distributor, water.
I don't need a carb because I can use Bob's ATM carburetor. He's got it at the dyno.
That's true. So take the carb off. So that's $390 you can take off of that. So figure about $750 now.
So I'm just north $3,000.
About $3,000, yeah.
Okay. And now that's with a dual plane.
That's a dual plane intake.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to start as basic can be.
Basic can be with this setup. That motor with this setup should be just north of about 260 horsepower.
Oh, really?
Thereabouts.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what this motor is designed to do. They rate it at 195 horsepower with a 2-barrel.
Oh, okay.
So with a 4-barrel intake,
okay,
with a 600 carburetor, or his carburetor, which I think is a 700 that he's got up there, or something like that, ATM. I would figure around 260 to 270 horsepower, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
Which that's a pretty good setup. And then you can go from that, you start changing little stuff. Like I said, rock arm ratios. Go to 1.6 rocker or 1.5 rocker. That gives you 40,000 more valve lift.
Right.
Doesn't change the duration any, but changes the valve lift a lot.
Right.
So that in itself is 10 to 15 horsepower. It's good. That's a good start. So basically, you look at
without really cracking the engine open. There's a ton of things
without cracking the engine open, without changing the camshaft.
Right.
Which is the only reason you're changing it. Without checking the camshaft, you would be at 260, 270 horsepower. Without getting into there, if you just change the rock arms to a 1.6 rock arm instead of 1.5 rock arm, you pick up another 10, 15 horsepower.
Yeah.
So rejet the carburetor, redo all that stuff. But yeah, see, the good thing, and I agree with 100% with people. Yeah, people already done that. Yeah, people have already done that. Everybody's built small block Chevys since 1955.
Right.
No doubt about that. But do you have exactly what they did on every single one that anybody's ever done? No,
right.
You don't.
Right.
This tells you if you're going on a dyno, changing the camshaft on a dyno. It's like Hot Rod Magazine or Carcraft Magazine has done on some of their deals where they put a motor together on a dyno. They leave it on the dyno, change the cylinder heads, change it, and that way you got a baseline. Then you can see what all the difference is for everything that you do.
You see, Terry understands what I'm trying to do here, and it's not just because he's trying to sell me a bunch of stuff.
No. And everything the good thing about a small block Chevrolet, the only thing that holds it back is money. The more money you put in a small block Chevrolet, the more horsepower you make, the more horsepower you make, the faster it gets.
So,
without a doubt.
Yes, and I agree. And the parts availability is excellent, and the cost for building something is you're not going to beat anything
It is
less
by
expensive.
far the cheapest motor to build ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
So I did get a lot of blowback about doing 8.5 compression,
There's,
but you could
there's
still
nothing really
get
wrong with that. I
and
mean,
you could run it on crap gas.
right. You can run it on 87 octane gasoline that you can buy at your Stop and Rob anywhere in
Right.
in
the country.
entire country.
Right.
You know, and it'll run. That's the good thing about it. You can, and the good thing about it, you can keep your timing up because you're running on 87 octane gasoline. You can run as much timing as you want to. You can run it where it'll have the most power that you can run it at 87 octane, and you'd be surprised how good it does run on 87 octane.
Yeah.
You can run it, like I said, we can go up on camshafts, we can go up on all that stuff. You can get, without doing a whole lot, you can get 350 plus horsepower, 370 pounds of torque,
Yeah.
not doing a whole bunch and not spending a whole lot of money. You know, but the good thing about it is you keep track. Like say, we changed this intake. We went from a performer style intake to a performer RPM style intake,
Right.
which raises what the RPM is in it.
Right.
So
You sacrifice here, you gain there. Show it
sacrifice
out.
low end, but you gain top end.
Right.
And you gain RPM. And the good thing about a small block, even with these heads on it, which is just a free 86 head, 194 valve, 72 cc chamber, it's the cheapest of cheap Chevrolet heads that there is. But it's a great head.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole lot better than the old 305 piece of crap heads, what they call the lightweight head, which if you torque it too high, it breaks off. And lightweight.
Yeah.
It's lightweight.
It's lightweight because they
junk.
use, right.
Yeah.
Easier to throw in the trash when it's
Throw it in the
lightweight.
trash. You don't do valve jobs on it. You just throw it in the trash.
All right. So here's the other question.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense to do something with a roller valve train? With a roller camshaft?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. As far as you can take a camshaft with exactly the same specs, roller over a hydraulic flat tap.
Right.
Just changing it to a roller camshaft. Less friction's more horsepower. You'll
Right.
gain 15 to 20 horsepower.
You're freeing up power.
Exactly the same specs on the camshaft. Exactly the same specs. And you wouldn't do that anyway. You go up on the camshaft size.
Right.
But yeah, just friction wise. That's what you fight all the time in a motor is friction.
Right.
Friction. So a roller camshaft, roller valve train, roller rocker arms, even a roller tip rocker arm over a full roller rocker arm, less friction. The good thing about it is, and plus everything lasts longer.
Right.
You don't have to worry about the deadly camshafts going flat, because on a hydraulic flat tappet, the way the camshaft sits on the rotor, it rotates it rotates the lifter. And if you don't use zinc, break-in, or something like that, oil nowadays is crap. It does not have it doesn't have any kind of lubricant in it, which lets that happen. On roller camshaft, you don't have to worry about it because you got a roller wheel on the bottom of your lifter.
Right.
And the camshaft's rounded, and so it ramp rates really, really fast. It'll rev higher, rev higher, jump higher, run faster, jump higher. PF flyers, but and it'll make more horsepower simply because less friction, and less friction is more horsepower.
So the one we're talking about is a flat tappet,
It's a flat tap,
which means I also need to go through the break-in process of it.
right.
So I have to break it in on the dyno, and then you end up with a situation of if I do want to change camshafts, I got to start all over again. I got to break in another camshaft with another set of lifters.
It depends. If you go with the roller, you don't have to.
That's what I'm
break
saying.
it. Yeah, you don't
With
have to
the
break
one
in
that we're
anything.
talking about.
If you go with a flat tappet camshaft, yes, that is true.
I've got to go through that cycle again.
Right. Yeah.
So that was what was concerning me is if we're going to do this, does it make sense to go, like, is there a roller version of that that's a little bit
start
more
with?
money to start with? Or does it not make sense?
I would probably start with a flat tappet camshaft.
And the overarching theme of this is I have no idea if I'm going to recoup any of my money.
Right.
This could be just me spending a ton of money.
Well, the difference, a hydraulic roller camshaft and lifters over flat tappet camshaft and lifters. A hydraulic cam and lifter kit is say about $800, $900.
Yeah.
Whereas a flat tappet cam lifters is about
A third of the price.
$300.
Yeah.
About $300. So, like I said, are you going to gain? Are you going to?
But I got to
more
use
horsepower?
break-in oil. I got to use $100 worth of break-in oil.
You got to use break-in oil. You got to break it in. True. Whereas you don't have to do that. But you also have to buy another set of push rods too, because a roller camshaft uses a much shorter push rod than a flat. So you got to buy cam lifters, push rods. And
So keep it simple, stupid.
I would keep it simple, and see what the horsepower you can make with a flat tappet camshaft. Which there's plenty of good flat tappet camshafts out there.
Yeah, I've run a lot of flat
We
tappet.
didn't have hydraulic roller camshafts till 15 years ago.
Right.
You know, and they make a lot of difference. But you know, there's some deals out there. If I can find some, there's some deals out there on some that we might be able to get at a decent deal, comparatively speaking. I mean, a couple $100 more instead of $600 more.
Yeah.
So there are some deals out there, but we could see what all is available. But your next step up on camshaft wise, like I said, you can do a lot of stuff before you change the camshaft.
I think I would
Yeah.
like to go. In my mind, the way I think I see this happening is you start with our baseline. So it'll be a low-rise dual plane intake manifold.
Right.
It'll be a basic carburetor setup. It'll be a
Right.
basic ignition setup.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
And see what it truly actually makes.
Right.
And then use that as our baseline, and then maybe throw an intake manifold at it.
Right.
And do them one step at a time,
Right.
so we can verify what does this make.
Right.
Not changing two variables at the same time, and
No.
where are we finding our
No,
power? from.
then you don't know, because you don't know what gave you the horsepower increase or decrease, because you did two things at one time. So,
Right.
So, what do I do now?
You change one variable
Yeah.
at a time and you test it again.
And you test it. Yeah.
So that's yes, there are other people that do engine stuff on dyno stuff and engine building stuff. I've seen tons of that in like the Engine Masters, and there's plenty. Somebody brought up Eric does stuff with this all the time.
Yes.
I get that. There's all kinds of people that do that, but this would be something that would be more of a our version of that, and be able to test things one step at a time.
Right.
And I think it would be an interesting thing. It would be a valuable bit of information.
It would be. Yeah.
And it would be something that people could use as a reference tool
Right,
if
exactly.
they're building whatever.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
What I really want to keep this to is keep it very budget minded. I don't want to go, here's a $7,000 set of cylinder heads on my,
Exactly. Yeah.
because it was given to me free by blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I want to keep it very budget minded and very like normal person.
Sure.
End goal, can we make 500 horsepower out of a
Right.
8.5 to 1 compression? Can you do it? Can you do it? Sure, you can.
Sure we can.
Are you going to spend a ton of money to get there? Probably.
We'll build a 350 horsepower motor, and we'll put a 200 shot on it, and there you go.
Boom, done.
500 horsepower.
All right. So
The
that's what I'm gonna do.
longevity would kind
Right.
of suffer.
Yes, we might need to gap some lines a little bit. So that's where I'm thinking. That's
Yeah.
what I does.
That's a good
Make
idea.
sense?
Good idea. It makes perfect sense.
Okay. So, I guess get me a shopping list worked up,
Okay.
and we're a week out if I pull the trigger on this,
Yes.
and then we
They're
have
very,
that
very
motor.
fast, shipping wise. I mean, I sell that motor right there, the M353, which is the 260 horse motor. I sell thousands of them over the period of time. We were just talking about that earlier today. It's about as common an engine as that's what makes it so good. That's what makes this idea so good. It's about the most common engine that there is.
Yeah.
And it's I put them in everything. I mean boats, trains, planes, automobiles. I mean, it's been in everything.
Yeah.
So it's a good all around, and anybody, it's a Joe anybody motor. That's
Right.
what that is. It's a Joe anybody engine, because I mean, people put them in pickup trucks. People put them in street rods. I mean, I've sold more of those motors for street. Like, these old guys, they don't want a motor
Right.
that's not
Yeah.
gonna have no vacuum. It's not. They want
Yeah.
something.
I don't have any brakes.
They
It's a
got-
pain in
they
the
got-
ass to drive.
They got their vintage AC on, and they want to use it.
I get it. And I think that's a valuable
Yeah.
piece of this. Is
No, it's great.
Now-
It's a great idea.
Here's the other side of this: is all of you guys that are not small block Chevy guys, we could do something similar with other brands, with Ford and with Mopar,
Right.
and target something in that 351 range to match it up against the 350 Chevy.
Well, it's like that 360 motor you guys got right now.
That Mopar.
Yeah,
would be in the same.
It would be in the same game as what that is. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
exactly.
if this is something that's interesting and becomes a popular thing, we could end up with 3 different versions across all the brands to be able to kind of move at one point in time and test different things. Now, at that point in time, I'm way deep in the costs on this thing, and now I'm doing 3 different motors at a time. And I still haven't talked to Bob about this, by the way. So. Bob, if you're watching, I hope your recovery's going well. And
Bob's on pain meds.
he's not. He said he was good. He took off.
That's
he's
good.
off the
I'm
pain.
glad. I'm
He's
glad.
off.
That makes me happy.
I texted him earlier to see if he needed any snacks or anything. He said, no, I'm good, and he's off the drugs. So
That's excellent.
it's
That's
fantastic.
Great.
So that's my thought.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great. That's great. I'll put you a list together.
Okay.
I'll put a budget-friendly
yes,
list together, and we'll see what we come up with.
yeah. I'm a poor man.
That's fine.
I'm getting poorer every time I come see you.
I was born a poor black child. Yes, I understand.
So we're gonna see if we can make this happen. I think it's an interesting idea. Hopefully you guys are along for the ride, because in order to make this work and make sense, I need your buy-in to be able to make this make sense. Otherwise, I end up with a motor that I don't necessarily need for something that I don't own.
Right.
Which I figure out a way to sell that thing, I guess. But I think the idea is really strong.
I think it is too.
You spend a couple $100 on every upgrade here and there.
I mean,
Where would you go first? What was the first thing you tried?
The world today is instant gratification. I mean, and this is instant gratification, because you're going to put it on dyno and change something. Okay, this is what difference it made.
Right.
That's it. And you know.
Would you go to rockers first?
Very first thing I would go to after I put an intake manifold, carburetor, and distributor in it, yeah, rock arms would be the next thing to go with. Because that, if you, like I said, it's a 1.6 over 1.5, it's 40 thousandths more valve lift. So this little camshaft that's in there, which is about 440 valve lift, will now be a 470 camshaft, which is more like a 350, the old 350 horse camshafts,
Right.
something like that.
Right.
So.
And you're getting that purely
and
out
you
of geometry.
Ungodly piston to valve clearance in that motor, so you don't have to worry about nothing.
Right.
At all. So you don't have to worry about piston valve clearance in those motors too. You get, man, over 550, 560 lift. You don't, because you got plenty of piston valve clearance, so you don't have to worry about it. And the springs are great on those camshafts all the way to about 480, 500 lifts. So same deal.
So
We
don't even change
don't have
springs.
to touch the springs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would probably be the first step.
Yeah.
One would be, let's try rockers.
Right.
And I can use that same set of rockers over and over and over again.
Sure you could.
So do it, change the camshaft, do it again.
Right.
Change the camshaft, use the same
Sure.
rocker over again.
Yeah.
I just got to huge it.
Yeah, because once you put a bigger camshaft in it, you want to go with a bigger rocker anyway. So,
Right.
so once you buy that, it's good. Once you buy that, it's good. Once you buy an intake manifold, you change intake manifolds. I wouldn't go to a single plane intake on a motor like that. Well, I could take it back up. Probably you go with a torquer, small block,
Yeah.
with a camshaft that's over 230 duration at 50, around 480, 500 lift. You get a torquer intake, which is good from about 2,000 to 6,500, and you're right in the RPM range of that camshaft and everything.
Right.
And that's another 40 horsepower. By changing just that,
Right.
you're gaining 40 to 50 horsepower.
Well, and there's a lot of this that's going to be, in my mind also, where people throw upgrades at things
Sure.
that are not your bottleneck. That's not where your
Right.
challenge is.
Right, exactly.
You want to make sure that you're moving things along in a logical step.
Sure.
And you don't just throw a gigantic intake manifold at it if nothing
No.
else is designed to be able to handle
No,
an
'cause
intake
it'll-
manifold.
it'll-
It makes it worse.
Yeah, it'll make it worse. You will lose horsepower.
Right.
You'll spend money to lose horsepower.
Right.
You never want to do that.
And make it, yeah.
You never want to do that.
I don't want to do that. All right, so that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Work on
I'll
a
do that.
shopping list for me.
I'll do that.
The lights are turned off, so it's time for me to go home, or at least you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's the plan. Let me know what you guys think. Am I going down a terrible hole and I'm going to waste a bunch of money? Or does this make sense and people are interested in this? I'm really honestly motivated by the fact that the Engine Masters guys are done. Steve Brule is retired. Freiberger's done, and he's doing his will run and drive stuff that he's going to be doing. I think there's a value. I think there's a space here. I think this makes sense that we can do this. And I'm going to beg, borrow, and steal everything I possibly can to get Bob on camera and get dyno time with Bob. in between the stuff that I actually need for my cars and the boys need all their stuff done. So
Yeah, he can work that brake left
Right.
hand as well as he can.
and there's no machining that needs to be done with this.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly. No, it's everything's new.
put it rock and roll and let's go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me know what you think. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Terry will add up some math for me, and then I'll see, depending on what you guys think, whether or not I need to call him with a credit card. I don't even need to call you with a credit card anymore. You just have my card on file.
I got it.
That's a really bad
As long as
sign.
we don't tell Rich, we can get anything we want.
All right, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, man. No problem.
Let me know, guys. Here we go. Take it easy. Bye-bye.